him making a pass at me. It wasn't the that frustrated me the most. What made me most frustrated was the fact that he tried to unalive me after it, when in reality, even though I was drugged, even though I was violated, I never thought that the next step would be my life being threatened because you got turned down. But it's that power complex of wanting what you want when you want it, feeling like you own the things that you...
Girl, shut the door because the rap world is on fire. Cardi B and Nicki Minaj just reignited their feud, and this time it's nastier, pettier, and messier than ever. What started as a few shady retweets quickly spiraled into a full-blown digital war, with the two of them dragging each other's sales, personal lives, and even their families into the mix. And if you thought it was just between them, think again. JT, Lil Uzi, and even Cardi's man Pardi got pulled into the chaos. So how did a brag about album sales explode into one of the wildest rap beefs we've seen in years? Let's break it all down. It always starts with something small, right? Just a little spark. And in this case, the spark came in the form of a few seemingly innocent retweets from Nicki Minaj. On the surface, she was just celebrating her own wins, reposting stats that reminded the world she still holds the crown for female rap album debuts. Pink Friday, too, did historic numbers, breaking records on Spotify, vinyl sales, and global charts. And nobody's denying Nicki has earned the right to brag. But the timing of those retweets? That's where the drama starts. Because while Nicki was reposting all those receipts, the internet was buzzing over Cardi B's brand new album. It was her first full project in 7 years, and people were hyped. Fans were glued to the numbers, arguing back and forth about whether she'd pulled in 199,600 first-week sales or hit the big 200,000. Either way, it was clear Cardi had made a major comeback, and the spotlight was on her. That's when Nicki's retweets landed like bombs. Post after post reminding everyone that Pink Friday 2 opened with 228,000, that it was the biggest first week of the decade for any female rapper, that she holds 2 of the top 5 Spotify debuts ever, that she's the standard Cardi, and everyone else should be compared to. To her barbs, it was Nicki flexing her well-deserved stats. But to the rest of the timeline, it looked like shade, plain and simple. And the way fans interpreted it made everything worse. Cardi supporters felt like Nicki was deliberately trying to undercut the excitement around Cardi's moment, refusing to let her shine. Meanwhile, Nicki's loyal barb saw it as their queen, simply reminding people of the pecking order in rap, because in their eyes, Nicki is the blueprint and Cardi is still chasing her shadow. This clash of fan bases created the perfect storm. Every retweet became a screenshot, every stat turned into a side-by-side comparison, and before long, the debate wasn't about numbers, it was about legacy. Who really runs female rap? Is Cardi finally stepping into her own lane, or is Nicki determined to keep her foot on the gas and never let her successor breathe? And that's the exact moment the energy shifted. What should have been a celebration for Cardi turned into a countdown clock. Everyone could feel it. If Nicki and Cardi were both watching the timeline that night, it was only a matter of time before one of them snapped. And baby, when Nicki finally took off the gloves and started swinging, the entire internet knew the collision course was officially locked in. If the retweets were the spark, Nicki's next move was the full-on explosion. Because instead of keeping it cute and subtle, she decided to put pen to Twitter and drop one of the pettiest, sharpest disses the timeline had seen in years. And she didn't just throw shade. She went for Cardi's entire foundation with a rhyme that fans are now calling the alphabet diss. Nicki typed out a taunt that looked playful at first, like some nursery rhyme banter. But once you read between the lines, it was clear she was cutting deep. She wrote, "Barney dangerous, ABCDFG, falling off the charts with a big belly, running trains, barefoot, still smelly, still you could not outsell me. ABCDFG surgery to look like me." And it just kept going from there. At first glance, some people thought Nicki was just trolling with alphabet rhymes. But here's where the tea gets piping hot. Cardi has a track on her new album called Magnet, where she literally raps using the alphabet as a clever motif. So Nicki wasn't just spitting random letters. She was hijacking Cardi's own creative concept and flipping it back on her as a weapon. And if you know Nicki, you know she doesn't do anything by accident. The Barney dangerous jab? That was a double hit. Not only was she calling Cardi a cartoon character, but it was also a throwback to their infamous 2018 Fashion Week fight when fans nicknamed Cardi Barney because of a purple outfit she wore while lunging at Nicki. The big belly line? A clear reference to Cardi's pregnancy history, a topic most artists wouldn't dare touch, but Nicki went there without hesitation. This surgery to look like me lyric? That's Nicki accusing Cardi of trying to copy her image, reigniting an old argument that's haunted Cardi's career since the beginning. And then came the darkest part of the diss, lines about RICO charges, perjury, and even digs at Cardi's family. These weren't subliminals anymore. This wasn't rap wordplay. This was Nicki pulling the pin on the grenade and throwing it straight at Cardi's face for the world to watch. Fans instantly knew the gloves were off. The playful retweets had escalated into a personal attack, layered with history, humiliation, and accusations. Cardi's supporters were furious, calling Nicki obsessed and insecure. But the Barbs? They were eating it up, saying Nicki had single-handedly reminded everyone why she's the queen of lyrical shade. More importantly, the alphabet diss set the tone for everything that followed. It wasn't just two rappers competing for chart positions anymore. It was a public dragging match with no boundaries. By twisting Cardi's own lyrics into a weapon and weaving in old wounds, Nicki made it clear. This wasn't going to be a fair fight. It was going to be messy, personal, and possibly career-defining. And trust me, Cardi was not about to let that slide. Nicki might have struck first, but if there's one thing Cardi B is never going to do, it's sit quietly while someone drags her name. Within hours of Nicki's alphabet diss hitting the timeline, Cardi came swinging back with the kind of shade that instantly had the internet on fire. She wasn't just responding, she was pressing every button Nicki didn't want touched. Cardi's first move was subtle but sharp. She reposted a tweet that read, "What did Cardi B say in her #1 album? Oh yeah, must got on notifications and alerts, 'cause everything I do, a hater be seeing it first." The message was clear. Cardi was calling Nicki a fan in disguise, watching her every move like a stan with alerts turned on. And if that wasn't enough, she doubled down with her own words, tweeting, "Coca-Cola Barbie, the power I have make these bees come out of rehab every time. Go to your effing room." Nothing more annoying than a bored bee. You must have missed me, huh? Crazy. Now, kiss my feet. That wasn't just shade. That was Cardi accusing Nicki of being obsessed, insecure, and addicted to her presence. And fans couldn't help but notice the wordplay. Coca-Cola Barbie was a mocking twist on Nicki's Harajuku Barbie persona, reducing it to something watered down and commercial. Cardi wasn't just throwing insults. She was attacking Nicki's brand, the very image she spent over a decade building. But then Cardi went even deeper. If Nicki thought it was cute to joke about pregnancies with that big belly alphabet line, Cardi decided to flip it back on her in the ugliest way possible. She tweeted directly about Nicki's struggles with fertility, suggesting that Nicki had been running from doctor to doctor trying to conceive, but couldn't because of what she hinted were years of unhealthy choices. Her words were brutal. "This the third time you bringing up my pregnancy like you wasn't going to different fertility doctors because you couldn't reproduce from all them peas scrambling your eggs." Not allegedly. "Lord, protect my babies." That line hit like a sledgehammer. Fans gasped because Cardi wasn't just clapping back. She was going for a real-life, personal wound. In the rap world, kids and family are usually off limits. But Cardi made it clear she wasn't playing by those rules. And if that wasn't enough, she went for Nicki's sales brag too. Instead of being intimidated by Nicki's 228K first-week flex, Cardi twisted it into a weakness. She pointed out that Nicki had been in the game for 16 years, with cosigns from Drake, Rihanna, and Taylor Swift level visibility. Yet she was still clocking lower numbers than her peers. Cardi framed Nicki's brag as desperation, proof that she was clinging to rap stats instead of competing with the global superstars who came up in her own era. In one move, Cardi flipped Nicki's Queen of Rap crown into a reminder that she'd never broken through to the elite pop star level like some of her contemporaries. For Cardi's fans, it was the perfect clapback. She'd taken Nicki's attempt to reduce her to a joke and turned it into a commentary on Nicki's own insecurities. For Nicki's fans, it was unforgivable, crossing a line into personal attacks that went way beyond rap beef. Either way, the tone was set. Cardi wasn't holding back, Nicki wasn't backing down, and the beef had escalated from shady subtweets to full-blown warfare. And if you thought the words were harsh, wait until you see the petty meme war that came next. If Cardi's clapback was the match, then what happened next was gasoline on the fire. Because suddenly the timeline wasn't just about tweets, it became a battlefield of memes, photoshops, and throwback pettiness that had fans gagging. Nicki kicked it off by posting a picture of Cardi in a purple Barney suit, a cruel but calculated callback to their infamous New York Fashion Week fight back in 2018. You know, the one where Cardi stormed at Nicki and ended up leaving with a knot on her head? That moment has haunted their feud for years, and Nicki resurrecting, it was basically her saying, "Don't forget who embarrassed you first." But Cardi wasn't about to let the joke land without a counterattack. She fired back with a meme of Nicki's brother in a bright pink Barbie wig, the same type of wig Nicki herself is known for wearing. It was savage because not only was Cardi clowning Nicki's look, but she was also dragging in family baggage. Nicki's brother has his own history of scandals, and Cardi knew exactly what she was doing by putting his face into the mix. Nicki, of course, had a comeback ready. She posted a Photoshop picture of Jay-Z, yes, Beyoncé's husband, in a Barbie wig, with tears running down his face, mocking Cardi's Roc Nation ties. The level of pettiness was off the charts. Fans weren't just laughing at the memes. They were realizing this beef wasn't about rap numbers anymore. This was personal. These women were dragging each other's families, old traumas, and industry connections into the fight. Every post was a reminder that this feud ran deep and had roots way beyond the charts. And just when fans thought they could catch their breath, another player jumped into the ring. Out of nowhere, JT from the City Girls decided to stir the pot, and it was messy from the start. She jumped in on the timeline to shade Cardi, writing, "LOL, that be home ugly and mad. No celebration. I would have been breakdancing right now if I was number one, but she knows she lied." For a lot of fans, this was confirmation of what they'd already suspected, that JT was trying hard to get in Nicki's good graces, even if it meant sacrificing her own reputation. The problem? Cardi already had a history of dragging JT in her music. In her track Magnet, the same song Nicki had flipped for her Alphabet diss, Cardi had already come for JT, calling her Nicki's lapdog with nothing to show for it. She even went after JT's relationship with Lil Uzi Vert, dropping bars about him being on the down low and mocking JT for sharing her bags with him. So when JT tried to mock Cardi's success, fans immediately pulled up those old lyrics, reminding her that she'd already been roasted by Cardi months before. And then came the twist. Lil Uzi Vert himself got dragged in. Old rumors about Uzi's sexuality resurfaced, and fans couldn't help but clown JT for trying to weaponize Cardi's man when her own relationship was already messy. Cardi's fans were quick to point out that JT was throwing rocks from a glass house, and suddenly the narrative flipped. JT looked less like a loyal friend defending Nicki and more like someone desperately trying to stay relevant by inserting herself into a fight that wasn't hers. But JT wasn't finished. She decided to take things to an even darker place. JT tried to get the upper hand by dragging Cardi's partner, Pardi, Stefan, into the mess. She latched onto resurfaced allegations made by stylist Chris Griffith, who had accused Pardi of making unwanted advances and even trying to harm him when he rejected him. JT wasted no time tweeting about it, saying things like, "This is nuts and sad. Gay men should be protected. I feel like this isn't being taken seriously enough." Then she went all in, calling Cardi's baby father a gay man, not because of how he dressed, but because of Chris's claims, and even tagged news outlets and random politicians trying to amplify the scandal. At first, some fans thought she was making a serious point about protecting survivors. But very quickly, the narrative backfired. People started dragging JT for hypocrisy, pointing out that her own man, Lil Uzi Vert, had his fair share of messy allegations and questionable behavior. Fans flooded the timeline with old photos of Uzi in dresses and rocking feminine bags, mocking JT for clowning Cardi's man when hers was just as much of a target. It got so bad that JT had to defend Uzi publicly, saying, "Yes, my man does this. Mind his business, works hard, take care of his family, inspired his generation, and doesn't snatch. His style is what made him Lil Uzi." We're talking about Chris right now. Focus. But by then, the damage was done. JT's attempt to flip the heat onto Cardi's personal life only made her look desperate and hypocritical, and the internet was already treating her justice for Chris' tweets like a failed PR stunt. Meanwhile, Cardi was quietly gathering her own receipts, waiting for the perfect moment to strike back. And when she finally pulled them out, it took the beef to a level nobody saw coming. Just when fans thought the drama couldn't get any messier, Cardi B did what she always does best. She brought the receipts. On Instagram stories, Cardi started leaking what looked like private text between JT and Lil Uzi Vert. And let's just say, it was ugly. The messages showed arguments about money, cheating, and Uzi allegedly begging JT not to expose him. Some fans swore they even caught Uzi talking slick about Nicki and Roc Nation, complaining that Roc was trying to control him while he was still moving like a free agent. If true, that was wild, because JT had just been riding hard for Nicki, yet her own man was allegedly shading Nicki's camp. But Cardi wasn't done. In one of the screenshots, she implied that JT had been pregnant and secretly got rid of the baby. This was the bombshell that sent the internet into chaos. Cardi didn't even spell it out directly. She just dropped a cryptic caption like, "Don't play with me. I got everything. Ask her where the baby went." Fans immediately ran with it, accusing JT of hiding a pregnancy, and the rumor spread like wildfire. The internet went crazy because it wasn't just about music beef anymore. This was real-life dirt being weaponized. JT tried to play it cool, tweeting, "Lies spread fast, truth don't need proof," but by then, the screenshots had already gone viral. Whether they were real or doctored, Cardi had successfully flipped the narrative. Suddenly, JT wasn't the loyal sidekick defending Nicki. She was the messy one with skeletons falling out of her closet, all while her own man was allegedly trashing the very industry power players she was trying to impress. And that left everyone asking the same question. Where does this leave them now? When the dust settled, one thing was clear. Cardi and Nicki are still enemies. That part hasn't changed. If anything, this latest round of shade, memes, and lyrics just poured more fuel on a fire that's been burning for almost a decade. Their fan bases are more divided than ever, and every new release feels like part of a never-ending scoreboard. But JT? She officially picked a side. By going so hard against Cardi and aligning herself with Nicki, she's basically branded herself as Team Minaj for good. Some fans see it as loyalty, others see it as desperation. But either way, JT made her choice, and now she has to live with it. The bigger debate, though, is about legacy. Some fans argue that this beef is good for hip-hop because it's keeping rap competitive and entertaining. Others say it's just messy drama that distracts from the music. Nicki's supporters think it proves she's still the queen of rap, holding her ground against every new challenger. Cardi's fans argue she's the only one brave enough to stand toe-to-toe with Nicki and actually land hits. And JT? Well, most people are asking if she's really elevating her career or if she just turned herself into a side character in someone else's feud. One thing's for sure, this wasn't just a rap beef. This was about power, reputation, and who really runs the culture. So after all this chaos, Nicki's alphabet diss, Cardi's clapback, the memes, JT inserting herself, and the nuclear receipts. Who do y'all think came out on top? Was it Nicki with the precision shots, Cardi with the bombshells, or JT just making herself look messy? And bigger question, do you think this beef helps their careers by keeping them in the spotlight? Or does it hurt their legacies by making them look petty and toxic? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this debate isn't ending anytime soon.